Hello again and welcome back to Wingot Plays Oxygen Not Included with the Chaos Crusade and the Dupeflix and Chill base. I have had a little bit of a play around and I came up with this design to effectively generate steam by using a liquid tepidizer to heat up the salt water that we've got here, and then a thermal actuator to take the heat out of it. So effectively, we're converting power into heat for the thermo aquatuner, and the thermo aquatuner and the liquid tepidizer just got to fight over the liquid that's sitting here. But that should then allow us to produce steam in the steam room here, which will then get brought up into our steam engine. Gas intake, right. I was going to say why didn't it have a liquid intake, but obviously it's going to have a gas intake, not a liquid intake. So let's grab, we need a gas pump, which can go right there. And then, actually, let's see. I probably want to have some sort of a shut off so that if basically ideally I don't want this gas just sort of sitting here. I want to, if there is gas sitting here in the pipe, then stop pumping new gas. Which I guess what I could do I was thinking I could put a steam detector somewhere along the line, but I can't think of a way to do that where it wouldn't just result in the fluid either. So if I put it down this end here, then it will constantly toggle on and off, but it basically will have to fully back up before it tells it to turn off, at which point we've got a full thing worth of steam. If I put it up this end here, then we get a full thing worth of steam before it starts triggering. It then turns off while that whole lot of steam passes through, and if all of it fits into the steam engine, then it turns back on, and it's only 50% efficient. But it also it would also mean that if it's just a tiny bit left in the steam engine, then it will let a whole lot through, and again we'll have a whole lot just sitting there. So I think it's easiest just to ignore that issue, and worst comes to worst, we generate a little bit of extra water on the floor there. Speaking of though, we probably do want some way of putting some more water into the system if we want to run this more than just the 8 times that we're planning on doing. Now we've got 400 kilograms there, so we've currently got 1600 kilograms worth of salt water, and it's going to take 900, or actually let's confirm exactly how much it's going to take. So what are you doing? You 300 steam turbine, unreachable 10,000. So we're going to need 674 kilos worth of steam per flight. 674 times 4 is going to be a bit over. It's almost 3,000. And we've currently got 1,600. So we're going to basically need to double how much we've got here. 3,000, we need roughly 800, a bit under 800 kilos of salt water in order to get that running. Now, liquid tepidizer over here is, it only heats the water up to 85 degrees. But that's fine because we're not trying to make steam out of this section here. we're trying to make steam over here where the thermoactuator is. So the thermoactuator is dumping the heat into the surrounding area here. But it doesn't matter what temperature is occurring over here, so long as there's more heat than basically so long as the water coming through here can be cooled down 14 degrees, then it doesn't matter what this is. So we're going to fill this with, let's say, polluted water, or I'll probably use salt water given it's nearby and easily usable. So salt water can go down to the -7 degrees Celsius. So if let's say that we tell this thermosensor to be 20 degrees Celsius. So if the salt water is 20 degrees Celsius or more, then the thermoactuator dump 14 degrees out of it into the surrounding space. And then 20 degrees minus 14, we get 6 degree water coming through here, combating the 95 degrees, the 85 degrees in here. And the heat in here will just keep going up and up and up, even beyond that 85 degrees limit, at which point we will then eventually wind up with steam once the salt water here gets over 99 degrees. And arguably we could push it up to push it up a bit further, like let's say 125 degrees, so that it's got a bit of extra warmth. And in fact, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put in a temperature sensor, thermosensor, so that the thermosensor does not need to be made of steel. I thought that's what I was about to do. Automation thermosensor can be made out of lead even. And so this way we get to like 125 degrees before it gets dumped into that pipe. And then that will mean that even if it does lose a little bit of temperature, we're over 800. Let's see, when that finishes running, let's get rid of this bottle emptier, and we've now got a bit of extra capacity there for a bit of extra steel, a bit of extra steam. Perfect. So this one here, if the temperature is above 125, then this gas pump can run. Why are they not making that? That doesn't need to be made out of... Let's see, plumbing. We want a liquid pipe thermosensor, which can be made out of lead. So many things have been told to be made out of steel because either they've been made up here in the space biome where the temperatures, well, basically where things like to overheat unless you have these conduction panels. Even with things being made out of steel, they still tend to overheat a fair bit. Speaking of, let's take a look here. So we can do that, and that should fix the cooling loop here, because there was sort of two pathways that looped back on itself. It was really struggling. Whereas now that should be a continuous run of cold water coming through and keeping everything cool. Perfect. Anyway, back to what we're doing down here. So liquid thermo does not yet have a automation wire. So if we pop a automation wire there, that should be the last thing we need to get this up and running. We are going to need... Yeah, we'll close this in a sec. I wonder... No, I think it's probably best to do here. And we will bleed some of the heat in this room through that heavy watt joint plate. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, even if these two rooms do equilibrate. that's probably fine. Yeah. We'll have to see. If it struggles to get past 95 degrees because that heavy joint plate is bleeding the temperature between two rooms, I'll worry about it and fix it at that point. But for the time being, hopefully it'll work. Now, this one here, if the temperature is above, let's say 20 degrees, then suck out 14 degrees worth of temperature. Perfect. So I think everything here is now up and running. So then we just need to close it in, feed liquid in. Hang on. We do also need some way of getting liquid into the cooling loop itself. Okay, and then just want a pump. Let's put a pump here with a couple of tiles next to it. In fact, one tile will be enough. And then we can put a bottle emptier. Perfect. And then we just want to feed like so. Good. And then we just connect power. To there. There we go. Cool. Now that looks like it should all be working. All of this is just complaining because it doesn't have power at the moment. This is complaining because it doesn't have power or liquid, which, well, we can get some liquid coming in here already. We've still got plenty of salt water sitting over here, and we've got a whole tank with a, well, currently dormant saltwater geyser, but we should probably work on getting that up and running again sometime soon. Especially given that we're running out of liquid down here. It must all be, well, some of it's probably coming down here, breaking and turning into ice, but some of it is also being used to run the lavatories and stuff up here. So that's probably something we want to fix sooner rather than later, and we can easily fix it using the salt water that's here. Or alternatively, we can actually fix it for now by using the polluted water that's managed to make its way over to the right-hand side. And then the two pumps can fight between themselves, but we've mostly got polluted water coming through. And then the problem is this can't be a cooling loop. There is the cool slush geyser there, which we could probably use that to generate the cooling loop. Yeah, okay. I think I want to access this from our topside base. So in order to do that, let's close out this access point. Because that's basically the top quadrant there. So, and then we can, yeah, put a couple of airlocks there, set them to locked, and then we'll be able to access the cool slush geyser from the top side there. And good luck. Already know. Sweet. As soon as someone comes to do that, we will then be able to access this biome here from the top side. Oh, good. It looks like we've got polluted water coming back over to this side now as well. So I think we've filtered a decent chunk of it from over here. I wonder, what if we do that? But we don't have as good of a consistent flow in the cooling loop side of things, but at least this should help to filter out the polluted water that's managed to make itself over onto this way. Okay, and I've just connected the power on the pump down here. I accidentally overflowed the salt water trough here, and so wound up getting salt water in my crude oil store here. But that will probably be fine from two aspects. One, I can set up a filter when we do actually go to use this crude oil. Or alternatively, if I dump a whole lot of heat down into here from the steam engine, for example, it'll heat up the crude oil, but it will turn the salt water into steam, which I could probably set something up to capture the gas, capture the steam, and the crude oil would then have a whole lot more temperature to gain before it would turn into petroleum. So I think the salt water is going to be fine. It's just really annoying that I let it happen. Anyway, we have our cooling loop now is full of salt water. So we no longer need to feed any more salt water into the cooling loop. One thing we could do is we could put the rest of the salt water into the liquid vent, but we might save that for if we need to. We can worry about it, yeah, if it becomes an actual need instead of just something to do to tidy this up. Steam to engine here may produce a whole lot of heat. What is this? This is another 2 tons of salt water on top of the 3,200 that's already there. So it would be a 25% increase to the amount of salt water that's there, which would be a 25% increase to how much heat we would need to pull in order to turn this into steam. So target temperature reached. Wow, that was quick. Okay, so the salt water here is over 85 degrees Celsius, and so the salt water that's coming in is anywhere between, well, it's pretty much all 6 to 7 degrees, and 6 to 7 degrees, it's then rapidly equalized, well, pulling a chunk of heat out of here and getting all the way up to 30 degrees. 30 degrees, 16 degrees. Okay, yeah, I think it's just going to keep getting warmer and warmer, to be completely honest. Yeah, as this sort of equilibrates. But yes, then that hot water is coming through here. It's over 20 degrees, so the aqua tuner is running and dumping all of that heat out into the salt water here. Salt water here is already up to 64 degrees. I noticed earlier it was like 53 or less. And so yeah, we just need to watch this for a little bit and see how it goes forward. Yeah, generating heat and making sure it doesn't just equalize at 90 and get stuck, not being able to produce the steam as desired. But let's check. Let's let it run for a bit, and then we will have to see how things go. And we're already getting up well above 90 degrees Celsius, 91, 92, we're just coming up now, so it should manage to get up to steam, hopefully not too much longer. Now, we do want some way to actually be able to get to the command capsule, and they currently can't build these couple of wires here either, so let's pop back into rocketry. We don't want a meteor blaster at the moment, but a gantry right there should mean that they can then get in and access the door to the command capsule there. Let's tell that to be a priority. We've got 16 tons worth of steel at the moment, doing pretty well when it comes to steel. Gantry. Now the gantry, if I remember correctly, has a automation input so that it will retract when there's a red signal, and we want there to be a red signal when it, let's see, input here, launches the rocket. So if it is ready to go, then we want a red signal to this input. So effectively what we want is we want a NOT gate with a wire bridge. Can't go there, has to go here, and then that can connect to there. Cool. So when this command capsule is ready to go, this gantry will automatically retract. I think it also needs a power cable. And then the question is, should this instead be a heavy watt joint plate to try to separate these two pieces of base? Good, and then we just want a, do we use a mechanized or a manual? Let's use a mechanized, and then we can pull power from here. And that'll make it quicker transfer from one side to the other. Cool. Is there an issue with this? No pending deliveries, no pending... Awaiting delivery of steel. No pending deliveries. Have I done something wrong with this gantry? Can they just not reach it? Like where... It doesn't say unreachable delivery. Awaiting delivery. I'm going to have to try to figure out what's going on here. I'll be back. Of course. Gas pump made out of aluminium ore, 75 degrees Celsius. Thermal accutuner overheating, 125 degrees Celsius. The room did get up to 120, 125 degrees, so very much looks like this design works, and works well, but I forgot to allow for the heats that was going to occur in this space. So first up, let's turn off the accutuner, stop producing any more heat for the time being. Second, we need to get into this space, so I don't know if this salt water should be able to eat most of the heat and leave a liquid lock. But if it doesn't, then we're going to have steam absolutely everywhere. I am an idiot. Anyway, Cool, so they've made that. Let's dig out these two. As I say, there shouldn't be enough heat to vaporize all of this. And so long as it... Oh! Actually, there you go, it's actually condensing some of the steam that was in there. Wow, it's getting over 50 degrees already. Let's change this 100. Cool. I don't want you to run basically at all. Cool. Now we need to deconstruct this. We need to deconstruct this. We want both the gas pump and the thermal actuator to be replaced with steel versions. Cool. So we want a steel gas pump. Let's mop up all, sweep up all of this stuff. Now I'm not sure how much water we lost there. Hopefully it wasn't overly much. It looks like it wasn't enough to actually generate a water layer down here, in which case it's only trace amounts that we've managed to lose, if it's not even managed to escape the platform here. Okay, now we want another utility. We want a thermal actuator, which is made out of steel. There. And make both of those as a priority. This liquid pump is being overheated. That's fine. In fact, we'll be able to use this liquid pump to dump a bit more liquid in there if we absolutely need to. But, come on when you're ready. Good, looks like we had an autosave there. No pending deliveries. I don't get why the steel... And here, I've set this crate to receive steel, and yet it looks like no one's able to actually deliver to it. So, where is all my steel? Steel is down here. Okay. And why is no one able to get to that steel and bring it up? Oh. Oh. What's going on there? Okay. Looks like we managed to completely filter this out, and so the polluted water stopped cycling, and Clav there is having a breakdown. Now, why is there no power here? This is warm enough that these steam turbines are running, so there should be power being produced. Nothing over here is complaining about power issues. Nothing up here is complaining about power issues. The only issue is here. Because this transformer is flooded. Okay. Easy solution. And a dump. Yep, okay. So probably the cleanest solution anyway will be grabbing this liquid and moving it out of there. Oops. I'm not 100% where it came from, but if we can get this water cleaned up, like it's probably overflowed from wherever all this water is coming from. But it's annoying that it keeps happening. One thing I could also do is I could potentially put a mesh tile down here and just dump the water down into this space. Yeah. Cool. Once we get this power back up and running, yep, we've got water flowing, so it shouldn't take too long for that water to get up into... Yeah, cool. It's getting close. Once it gets there, we'll then have running water over in our habitation area again, at which point they can stop peeing on the floor and can start using the toilets again. I don't even want to look at who I've got available there. Once this clears up, we'll get power again down here. Once we've got power again down here, we can then get access to the steel. Once we've got access to the steel, we can then get the gantry built, as well as replace the thermoaqua tuner and the gas pump here, and we'll have steel again. What's overheating? You? I thought it said deconstruct. I didn't say deconstruct, but that's fine. We will be able to replace you. In fact, we'll replace it with a... Come on. Ilmaquinone, thank you. I think it's Ilmaquinone. Yeah, it is Ilmaquinone. Steel, there. Cool. So, once we've fixed the flooding here, the power to transform will come back online, and we'll have access to our steel again. That is a annoying problem, but thankfully it was solvable. Really need to get on top of all of the random fluids that we've got going everywhere and flooding all over the place, but for now that's something I think we're going to have to do in another episode. But we have steam being produced. At the moment, it's just a matter of getting it hot enough so that it can actually then be taken up into our rocket, because we've got this 125-degree sensor here, and that will happen very soon. So hopefully by the start of the next episode we'll have all of this sorted out. But thank you for watching. Stay happy and healthy, and I hope to see you in the next one.